pay rises for CEOs at another 3 commercial semi-state organisations have been criticised by Sinn Fein. Louise O'Reilly says that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will always show up for those at the top, while ordinary working people are taken for granted. But does the pay need to increase to keep the best people in the job? Well, I'm joined now by Louise O'Reilly, Sinn Fein TD, and John Clendennen, who's a Fine Gael TD and member of the Enterprise Committee. And good morning to you both. Louise, first to you. There was a big piece of work done on this by the Senior Post Remuneration Committee, and it said that the pay rises were needed to recruit and keep good people in the semi-state sector. You don't agree?
I think that when you see that what's on offer for people on the minimum wage is an increase of just above 4%, but for some of the chief executives here is an increase of 33% and more, salaries going up to €300,000 plus. I wonder where the priorities of the government are. I mean, we know that people with disabilities had their money cut by €1,400 in the last budget. We also know they're going to be on the streets on the 28th of February demanding an emergency winter payment. So that's how bad things are for some people in the economy. I think the move was tone deaf. Absolutely, the body made a recommendation. I understand that. The government do not have to sign off on it. They are not bound to sign off on it. They took that decision, and I think in that decision we saw very clearly where their priorities are.
OK, well, John, I mean, do you see that this could be perceived by some at least as being tone deaf when people are really struggling and will be very lucky to get a 4% pay rise?
Look, I think first and foremost, Claire, I am acutely aware of the challenges in relation to the cost of living today, and government are certainly trying to address them in every way they can. The minimum wage is something that we have endeavoured to increase and get to a living wage. We've also seen the likes of holiday pay, an extra bank holiday, sick pay and auto-enrolment all brought in to ensure that we assist people and support people that are working and making a tangible difference to Ireland, to our communities and to our economy, and that will continue. But in relation to this particular matter today, this is not politically motivated. This is not something where the government ministers got around the table and said, sure, look, let's do it.
Well, you see, I hear what you're saying, but it does require a minister to sign off on it. That is political.
Absolutely. But it wasn't the Sinn Féin approach to put the finger in the sky and see what way the wind is blowing today. This in many ways is done through a board where there's an independent review process. It's proposed to a minister. It's evidence-based and it gets the approval of government. No one in government or any backbencher wants to see us having to increase. But we're living in times where we're competing with the private sector. And our infrastructure in particular, in terms of what we're doing to try and grow the economy and strengthen and ensure a robustness for the future, is seeing large projects, complex projects being introduced and completed for the best interest of the future of Ireland. And in many cases, these chief executives have responsibility for hundreds, if not thousands of staff.
So your bottom line is, if you don't pay someone who's in charge of the Port of Waterford, the Dublin Port Company, Ishka Air and Dublin Bus, CIE Bus Air and more money, they're going to leave.
And this has been proven. They've come back because they're having challenge in the recruitment market. And look, this plays into Sinn Féin's narrative. They want to see this happen because they want to see us not being able to recruit and then come into the chamber in 6 weeks or 2 months' time. What are you doing to drive on passenger numbers? What are you doing to bring more people through our ports? We need key people that have the skills, that have the experience, and that can ensure that we're delivering in a cost-effective manner.
That's a pretty strong accusation to lay at Sinn Féin's door. Louise, do you want to see them fail?
No, Claire, it is a fairly strong accusation to make, and I can understand why they wheel out their backbenchers with their script to say this. But the simple fact is, it is tone deaf on behalf of the government. He mentioned there the living wage. In fact, in the programme for government, it's made very, very clear that in the lifetime of this government, many things may happen for chief executives and for those in the top 1%, 2% and 3% of earners. But what will definitely not happen, and that's confirmed in the programme for government, is the living wage. They've pushed that out beyond the lifetime of their government, even if they serve, and I hope they don't, a full term. But the simple fact is, when we see, you talk about competition with the private sector, the private sector committee, the ICTU, have issued guidelines to their members to seek pay increases of between 4.8% and 6%, and that is to keep pace with inflation and to keep pace with the private sector.
So is that what you're saying?
These are getting increases of 24%, 33%, all the while people who are on the minimum wage are expected to to accept 4.8%. You know, I understand that these people work in challenging jobs, but do we imagine for a moment that their job is any more challenging than a nurse trying to manage A&E? You know, she's not getting anywhere near a 33% pay increase. And, you know, it is a little bit tone deaf when we're going to have people with disabilities on the streets on the 28th of February begging, because they have to beg, and they will tell you that, for a modest increase just to get them through the winter to stay warm and be able to eat. And then at the same time, with the stroke of a pen, these lads can get pay increases, eye-watering pay increases, up to €300,000. There's absolutely no evidence at all that there's a crisis of recruitment or anything like it.
But is that not what the Senior Post Remuneration Committee found? That there is evidence that if these pay rises don't go ahead, these people will move on to other jobs in the private sector?
These jobs are filled in the main, and there's only one of them actually mentioned in the paper today where there is an active recruitment in place. So I fail to see how, if all these CEOs are threatening to resign, well then I think there's probably more going on than simply wages, and the government definitely should look into that. But I don't think that that's the case. It is in the gift of the government to sign off on these eye-watering pay increases at a time when they are preaching, belt tightening for everybody else and telling people they have to make do and manage, that these lads are going to ride off into the sunset with huge pay increases, way out of line than anyone in either the private or the public sector is coming even close to.
Yeah, Johnny, see, it would make sense to most people if there was an incremental pay increase of, as Louise says, 4.8 to 6%. But when you see 30% and above, I mean, Ishka Aaron, the pay rise was 100,000. It's very hard for people to swallow that.
Look, I completely understand the frustration that's there, but I'm not going to buy into Sinn Fein conspiracy theories. In relation to Irish Water and utilities investment in general, we are in a position of financial strength and economic buoyancy that we can actually invest in our infrastructure. If we were to adopt the Sinn Fein model in recent years and spend, burn, we wouldn't be in that position. But I think it's important to point out, Claire, in relation to assisting workers, there's a strong and firm commitment here to increase thresholds for income tax and to reduce the tax rate. And that is certainly going to continue. But I think from Louise's point of view...
Continue from when? Because there was nothing in the last budget for people.
Do you mean it's going to start?
Government. But let me just put one question to Louise, Claire. If she was in government, what would she do? Would she take the risk of not introducing the increase in salary and taking the chance or the risk that we wouldn't fill these vacancies? Or would she provide the increase to ensure that we can push on with the important infrastructure and the important development that we need to do? We live in very uncertain times.
Okay, so can I answer that question, please, Claire, because it's been asked directly to me.
We need to ensure that we have an open open economy.
Can I just answer the question you put to me?
And open up to new markets.
Can I answer the question?
Go ahead, Louise.
Almighty. He asked what I would do if I had the choice. I tell you what I would do. Okay, I wouldn't have cut €1,400 from people with disabilities. I would respond to the needs of those people. Please don't interrupt me. Please, Claire, can you ask him not to interrupt me so that I might be allowed to speak?
Well, he did ask you a direct question, Louise. John, stop, John. John, I'm getting your answer. So the specific question is whether you... Now I can't speak. Would you prioritise infrastructure, or would you prioritise not paying extra for these CEOs of these companies?
It is possible to absolutely prioritise infrastructure, and we have laid out those plans. It's also very, very necessary. And I'm not for a moment suggesting that there shouldn't be pay increases for anyone. Claire, you well know I was a union official for years. I made my living negotiating pay increases. But these pay increases that have been signed off by ministers are wildly out of kilter with wage inflation. They are eye-watering amounts of money, and the government haven't demonstrated the rationale for it. But to answer the question, if I had the choice, I would prioritise those who are on the breadline, those working people who are struggling just to get to the end of the week. They got nothing in the budget. Neither did people with disabilities. In fact, they got cut by €1,400. So when we see these pay increases and the ministers signing off on them glibly, blithely, not a bother on them. We see where the government's priorities lie.
But Louise, this is what Sinn Féin is accused of all of the time. You know, you can't do the infrastructure work that you need to do and everything else that you want to do as well. There have to be choices made. Now, we as a country, we appear to have prioritised infrastructure. That surely means that we need to pay those people well who are going to be heading up those companies which are expected to drive on the improvements in infrastructure that we need.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with people being well paid for doing a good job. However, these pay increases represent massively out of kilter, as I had said, rises for people without any. There's no incremental pay credit. There's no evidence to support. There's no performance reviews. There's no. I mean, how many of these CEOs get held to account? We don't see them. We don't hear from them. But what we do know is that we do know that they have secured these pay increases wildly out of kilter with what everybody else is getting. We also see that in the same budget,
John, I'm coming back to you.
Ordinary people got nothing.
Okay, so John, they're not held to account. Is that what exercised you there?
Maybe Louise wasn't listening at the outset, but there's a senior post remuneration committee. This is not a decision that lies at the hands of government. It is made through an independent committee which is evidence-based. But I think it's important to point out that Louise wants everything from Santa Claus. But the reality is you need a strong economy in order to deliver. There has been a massive commitment to the most vulnerable in society in Budget 2026. And in relation to infrastructure delivery, it's not going to deliver itself. We need skilled and experienced executives that can lead in relation to this. We have very much a plan in place that is that leads out a very clear timeline and that can be reviewed with transparent guidelines on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we are very much attuned to. And I'm on both the Enterprise Committee and the Infrastructure Committee and see this firsthand.
But perhaps, John, Louise has a point when it comes to performance. You know, we don't see how these people are earning this money, in particular the pay increases. Like, can we look back in 2-3 years' time and say, well, that person deserved the 30% or whatever it might have been because they've achieved this? We don't get to see that, do we?
Well, we certainly are looking at, if you look at the likes of the plan that we have for the delivery of infrastructure now, it's about holding all stakeholders to account and delivering in the best interest of the country going forward. If you take the likes of, as I mentioned previously, the geopolitical challenges that we face right now, we're a small open economy and we want to bring more trade and diversify that trade. We can't rely solely on some of the partners that we have in the past. We have to look to new markets. We saw a new trade deal open with India, agreed with India in recent weeks.
To do with the CEO
but unless we have key, skilled and experienced executives in place to drive on the capacity of infrastructure and the capacity of our country,
you see, maybe this was a
position where we will not be able to drive on our economy, and we have to do that.
Maybe, John, this was a misstep made years ago where a situation was allowed to develop where these top salaries were allowed to fall so far behind the private sector that now you're having to do this, which certainly on paper looks like an awful lot of money if you're giving somebody 100,000 on top of what they're earning today. So this is a problem that was bred and created years ago by this government.
Look, Claire, I think what we need to look at is the here and now. What we've tried to do, working with all state boards, is to ensure that we're getting value for money and working in the best interest of our state. But what we need as well is to compete with the private sector. And we need to ensure that where there are vacancies for top executive positions, that we are offering and proposing a salary and paying conditions that will be appealing. We need to ensure that we have top quality, skilled, experienced executives.
There are no vacancies in most of these posts. What people object to, performance-related system, maybe something was open and transparent, we could see this. But these lads are getting their pay rises fronted up. Absolutely no plan to deliver. Your government has been in place for 15 years. Infrastructure challenges, as you call them. Let's look at who's causing them. That's down to government decisions. So, you're reaping the rewards of your own policies now. And there is no case to be made for these pay increases and no evidence that the government interrogated these figures in any way or paused before they signed off on them. And I will say it again, the government took €1,400 off people with disabilities and they'll be on the streets on the 28th of February to let the government know their feelings.
Okay, meanwhile, says a listener, the entry-level salary to the public service is approximately €600 a week. before taxes. Is that fair to point that out, John Clendennen, in the context of what we're seeing on the front page of The Independent today?
I made the point at the very outset, that we want to support workers at every level and ensure that we make work pay. We've introduced measures such as additional bank holiday, sick pay, auto enrolment, just holiday pay. Ireland is a good place to work, but we want to see that continue. And as I said previously, we have a commitment over the lifetime of this government. And, Sinn Féin want everything done in year one. But we are going to ensure that the thresholds for income tax are increased and the tax rates are reduced.
All right.
And we are committed to that and we'll deliver on it.
This is nonsense. This government have been in place for 15 years.
Elements
Nobody's
of it.
demanding anything be done for.
I think John, in fairness to him, was elected in 2024. So we'll give him a break on that.
Well, he's not a member of government today and he wasn't then, but his party have been in government for 15 years.
We leave it there.